perspective. From Danzig to death, to Dark Throne to Dr. Shrinker. Buckle up, things are about to get heavy. This is the Metal Podcast. Let's rock and roll.
Hello and welcome to the Metal Podcast. I'm your host, AC, and I'm here with DJ. How you doing?
What's going on, everybody?
Okay, so this is the premiere episode, and just to give you an idea of who we are a current metal enjoyers, overall music fans. We played music when we were wee lads, and now as the world has gradually and drastically changed, we have been drug out of the shadows to give a little more nuanced take on the music world from a metal perspective. We don't have a fancy resume. We're not here like as former heavy metal journalists. We're not from the Needle Drop or something pretentious. Like I'm not some guy like, back in 1989, I was in the men's room with C.C. DeVille as he was measuring his wee-wee next to Vinnie Vincent. So I'm qualified to talk. No. We're normal people. We're regular humans. And we're just having our more human outsider take on something that I think is very popular with a lot of people.
Couldn't have said it better myself, AC, and we have a lot to get to today. Don't know how we're going to get it all in for you. We've got a great show ahead, an absolute whopper. And, something that struck a chord with me recently is the thought that, music is dead. You had brought this up to me, AC, and that the music seems to have an AI element. I want to get into the AI aspect of it in a minute, but what did you mean by you think that music is dead?
So, pop culture, as we know it, is basically dead. There's a really bizarre trend, and at first when it started, I was like, hey, that's cool. I like that. Where there was a big resurgence in like 80s aesthetics. Like there was, that obviously Stranger Things came out and that was really popular. And then there was that documentary In Search of Darkness, and then the movies that made us, and like the toys that made us. There's all this like,
right
80s stuff. And 80s
so much nostalgia now.
But specifically 80s.
And
specifically 80s. It's because the 90s pop culture was pretty much a celebration of nihilism. It was a celebration of nothing, and that's what it was. Like there's this really weird, I don't know. I guess there's a spectrum of what the 90s was, where there was like the muted grunge, there was the like totally brain dead, like top 40 dance pop, and then there was just rap. And the last man standing seemed to be the rap, and rap is more stupid now than it's ever been. Like, I am not a fan of rap. I think, especially now, like when people come up to me and say like, well, rap was way better, back in the day. Well, yeah, that's because rap now is so stupid that anything is better. It's so bad. And when I say music is dead, there is no more genres. There is no more diversity in music. All music is, it's top 40 nonsense that feels like it was assembled in like in a science lab. Like it was synthesized for stupid people to tap their toes to. And there's no creativity. It all sounds digital. Nobody has any talent. And like, don't come at me with like, well, Lady Gaga, but you know what? Maybe Lady Gaga has some talent. But, this is one of many. Like we're not in the age where you have like Dolly Parton and Led Zeppelin and Diana Ross and Frankie Valli, like where you have all these different stars from different genres that are celebrated by people of all different creeds. Now it's just like the one genre of top 40. It all sounds the same. Deal with it.
It's like it almost seems like they're not even trying anymore, and now they're just like messing with this. And I spoke with someone recently who was saying like, yeah, there hasn't like been a good like rap song or new rap artist since like 2012. I'm thinking like that's been 11 years of just garbage. And despite what you may think about rap in its entirety, whatever, the music, whatever, as an entertainment value, like 11 years to not have anything produced that was worth anything, like that seems to me like a problem that's not just like with rap, but just music in general. Like what has happened? And I think something with the AI element that's taken on something new, like even like there's a new AI feature when you're watching like a game on TV, like a baseball game, that can give you the highlights at the end, like all streamed for you that you could post to your profiles and stuff. Like that's like, how does it do that? and it seems like it's infiltrated into music. Like they could just create this like new like elevator type music. Like you hear it in like if you watch like reality TV or like the Real Housewives or Love is Blind. If you ever watched that one, Milf Manor, yeah. After the commercials, they have this elevator music that's like little poppy, not type like EDM or whatever, but it's like the music keeps changing, and I think everyone's unhappy with it.
Well, it's like we've been on a downward spiral, like culturally. And the thing is, with the 80s, that stuff was really celebrated. People, I don't want to say rose tinted glasses, because I think I do have rose tinted glasses for certain things. Like there is a lot of, like there's always been bad pop. That's not a new thing. Like 50s, 60s is whatever. As long as there have been massive releases from major labels, there's been bad pop. But a lot of bad pop was it was a product of its time, and there was just so much of it. But there's a lot of 90s pop that I look back and I just like, oh boy, those were the days. Like I genuinely like Ace of Base, like specifically Ace of Base. But there are songs by Real McCoy or Amber or even like LaBouche. Like I like the 90s.
What about Aqua? Did you like Aqua?
No, I don't like that one. But that one is one of them. That's a bad one. And there's a lot of bad ones. Like,
yeah.
Like Groove is in the Heart by
that one. But that one was probably like the most popular.
No, what's probably the most popular was the Macarena. And I was thinking about that yesterday. Like this is some kind of MK Ultra hypnosis that they're like training everyone to do this dance, and the songs
they're all doing it.
Like Al Gore's doing it. Yeah, it was the craziest thing. People are doing it at baseball games. People are doing it at like political events. It's so strange, and that song is really, really bad.
But the cool thing about the arenas and stuff is that we get to listen to Crazy Train.
Oh yeah.
Like, what's it been, 40 years now since that song came out?
1982.
Guess how many plays that song has on Spotify?
1 billion.
No, but there is a song with 1 billion. 550 million. 550 million.
Okay. What song?
But I was also thinking with Ozzy, like, okay, Spotify came out in I don't know what year. Let's say like 2012. It's probably wrong, but like if he has 550 million views or plays, well, if he had that over the decades, like how many plays would he have? Like just the fact that it's played at every arena everywhere. And what I was kind of getting into was there's an artist that he surpassed. Well, actually, with Ozzy, guess how many monthly listeners he has? About 25 million.
Okay. Yeah, I have no idea.
But my point is, Miley Cyrus has a song with 1 billion plays. Okay. Party in the USA. Okay, 1 billion.
Okay. You know that is interesting that you talk about that because another good reason, or another good, I guess, more evidence that music is dead is that Miley Cyrus has a billion plays for Party. I do know Party in the USA, and there's a specific reason why I know it, but I didn't know it was Miley Cyrus for the longest time. And this has more plays than a 40-year-old song that like anybody who's ever been outside in public knows this song. And this new era of
It
pop,
has half.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
half. Yeah. A 40-year-old song. It's not just a 40-year-old song because I'm sure there's 40-year-old songs that are terrible. Yeah, but
Right.
it's not this is a super famous song. Like this is Ozzy like breakout
And
year.
one of the famous guitarists of all time. Like just everything, everything.
Yeah, oh gosh, this might not have been 82. This might have been older than that because I think that's the first album. Because the first, I think it's 80. I think 81 was
80.
I think 81 was Diary of a Madman. I think Bark at the Moon was 83. So I think Crazy Train might have been 80.
Might have been 80.
Yeah, so
That's
anyway.
insane.
But back to the music being dead because this is really important.
Yeah.
Do you remember because we when we were in high school, when we were exposed to metal that was more abstract, it was a little out of the box for us at the time. And if you're like, shut up, hipster. Like we were exposed to more accessible metal, Motorhead, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, Metallica, Megadeth. But when we started finding other bands that were harder to find, didn't it feel more special to you when you found it?
We had to put in work to find those bands because it was like, okay, like there's Metallica, all right, that's cool. Oh, and then I was like, wow, Megadeth, all right, that blows Metallica out of the water. Why was I listening to that? And then it was like finding something like Dawkins. I'm like, whoa, this is amazing. But yeah, like you felt. Was it?
Yes.
No, I got into it late.
Oh no. Yeah. So
like,
the VHS of Dream Warriors had the music video for Dream Warriors. It's the first music video featured on a video cassette. Fun fact for you. So
that is a fun fact.
So that's where I discovered Dawkins. But go on.
But I distinctly remember having to like go search for bands, like a list of bands, like metal bands, and then it's like I had no idea all these bands or people existed. Like I thought only a few things were in existence, but you had to work hard to find them. And now it's like it's easy to find bands, but I don't think it's easy to find bands you like. Or you know what I'm trying to say, or something different.
No, I think it's extremely easy for people to find bands that they like, but I think the algorithms are designed to keep people from liking anything other than overproduced commercial trash. Because the trash that's available now, this top 40, it's extremely degenerate and it's really subversive. And there's no creativity. So it doesn't inspire people to go out. Like hearing Megadeth made me want to learn how to play guitar. Like
100%.
Who listens to Drake or Cardi B or Megan the Stallion and wants to pick up any instrument? And I'm sure there's people out there that maybe they want to be rappers because of that, possibly, but there's no real talent from any of these people. There isn't anyone. I'm sorry to anyone that thinks that there's any talent here, but these people are not talented. They've been picked by the system to be the avatars to keep people away from actual music. Like these are your gatekeepers. In the same way that political pundits keep people on whatever team that they're on. These are the people that are keeping regular people from discovering rock and roll, jazz, blues, whatever. It's mostly rock and roll, let's be fair. Like blues is basically dead. Jazz is super niche, and it will never break into the mainstream because jazz is chaotic and noise. It's unnatural. Some people can get creative with it when they're playing.
Well,
metal.
I know your favorite metal band. Your favorite metal band is Autopsy, right?
I thought you were gonna say Dream Theater. Autopsy.
Wasn't Autopsy the?
Have I ever talked
Aren't
about
they
Autopsy?
the jazz? Aren't they like the jazz death metal band? Like there'll be a cool riff, and then they just start doing like some type of bass overplayed jazz thing or whatever.
I don't think I've ever heard Autopsy because that's weird that you brought that up. Like, have I ever talked about Autopsy? I don't know if I've ever heard a song.
I swear you had. No, there was like a jazz metal band. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else, but I swear it was them. And I was like, yeah, this is cool for like a second. And then it does weird, like a jazz, like a swing band thing. And then it goes back into like death metal.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't like that. I've never heard that. I don't know. But again, like that's, and I don't like that for its own reason. We'll get into that on a later date. Like we'll have episodes where we'll talk about specific things. Like it's not always going to be about the state of music. This is the first episode. We got to get people to know what we're into, what we're about, and we got to start off with a little more interesting content than just here's what I think about this Autopsy record you made me listen to, and I will listen to an Autopsy record front to back. Yeah, if that is the band
I don't advise it, but only if you had remembered.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll get to that. Maybe I'll do that. If you don't advise it, I'll take that into consideration.
I'm telling you not to do it.
Okay, I won't. What about people listening at home?
Turn the volume as low as possible. Maybe mute, and then you could be okay.
Maybe. We'll see. But
I did see. You're gonna hate me for this. I saw a Chris Brown concert a couple years ago, right before the COVID. But you know what? He did some dancing stuff. He was doing flips and stuff. However, so it was him, a guy named Ty Dolla $ign, and he actually played some bass, which was interesting to see a rapper do that. Don't know if it was plugged in or not, but then this other rapper, his name's Tory Lanez. He like a few months, or maybe I think the summer after this concert, he ended up shooting a fellow rapper by the name of Saweetie.
What about the other ones? Did they also shoot a fellow rapper? How many crimes did the rest of that bill commit? I find whenever I get like in my music news feed, whenever it's something about a male rapper, it's always some crime they've just committed. Always.
Yeah. Do you think it's different than like those crimes that like, Motley Crue and Poison?
Yes, it is different. Yes, it is different. Yes, because those guys. Okay.
You think it is?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will say it 100% because those guys. Well, hair metal. Now, initially, I was very anti-hair metal because I'm like, this is just gay stuff. But that was just me being an NPC because I was just trained to think that. But as I grew older, as I got older, as I got less ignorant, I was, some Poison sucks. Okay, Poison is a really bad band. But
talk dirty to me.
That song is okay, but the rest of their song, Every Rose Has Its Thorn, is all right. But for the most part, that band sucks. They are very much a product of their era. Like I would go to a Poison concert in 1987, but only because girls would be there. But there's no reason other than that. But those guys, as feminine as they looked, they were like genuinely really masculine guys. Like they were partying, they were getting girls, they were getting into fights. Like they were genuinely tough guys. Like they were more masculine than like the Black Death and thrash metal band. Like those guys.
Yeah, like they're driving Harleys down in their little hotel rooms with like 30 chicks. per person.
like those guys were actually like pretty badass, honestly. As silly as they looked, but like the crime, like Motley Crue were a specific case where those guys partied way too hard, and those guys were degenerates, but they were mired with controversy. Where these rappers, it's a regular thing with most of them. It's not like a lot of them. They drink, and then a fight might break out, and they get some chicks. Like, that's how it was with the hair metal. With these rappers, it's regularly, oh, another one? Oh, he brought a gun into a club. Oh, a fight ensued. Oh, and someone got shot. It's like, it's every time with them. It's way different.
It's super sad. It's super sad, dude, and it breaks my heart seeing that stuff.
I don't weep for them. You know, they
not for them, but they end up hurting innocent people, you know, it could be.
But those innocent people want to be around them. Like, this is a lifestyle that these people.
You're saying shooting dice behind a bowling alley at 2 a.m. is a bad idea?
You know,
come on, man. We got to be safe to be shooting some craps in the.
No, at the bowling alley, it's a good idea. But in front of the liquor store at 10 a.m., you know, that's a little different. When you have guys shirtless at Long Beach Boulevard, 10 a.m. drinking Mickey's, you know, and then
that's a good time.
Yeah, it's a great time. Yeah.
Well, and it seems like maybe I was thinking too, like, and not to put musicians down by any means, but like if you compare musicians to athletes, like they're both entertainers, but the athletes, they kind of almost all of them, in order to be a professional athlete, you have to go to college. Like, if you're here in America and you end up becoming a Major League Baseball player, it's like 90% of people, you have to go to college, you know? So it's like, I'm not saying school makes you a better person, but like it gives you some type of structure. You got to be in a team setting. You got to be with people in a classroom. You have to pass a class. You know, it might sound stupid or silly, but then you go to the musicians. You could do cocaine, heroin in the same line and be like, okay, that was a great riff. Do it again. And now this time take more because you're more creative when you're all blown out of your mind. Like, to me, I'm like, wait a minute. There seems like some sort of problem here.
Well, you know, I'm going to push back a little bit against that because a lot of those people that go to college, that's basically just ceremonial at that point. A lot of those athletes, they take BS classes, they get A's just for showing up. They don't do any real work. And obviously that's not all of them, but this is for like, you know, the top players.
You're talking to like the big time dudes. They're like, all right, you're a high school recruit. You go to this college.
Yeah.
You're probably not doing a freaking thing. Yeah. I get that.
That's my point is like they go to college, but they're not actually getting educated. Whereas, but I understand your point. You don't need to go to college to be a musician.
Right. And I think like, maybe that has something to do with, all right, you can't.
I don't think so.
You know, you can't commit murders for 4 years because that happened with that Aaron Hernandez on the Patriots. You know,
that guy was just
getting convicted,
gangbanger, dude.
And then he apparently was like had a secret lover and stuff, and then he
kept
he did. You don't let that stuff get out.
That
now,
guy,
like now, everyone's
honestly,
let me. Oh.
Aaron Hernandez should have just been a rapper. Like that was calling. That was his calling. He got into the wrong profession. Yeah, I don't think it's college, but that's another story. I don't think college would save most of these people because a lot of these athletes are degenerates, but they're part of an industry where they make so much money that it's covered up. It's like the same thing with Hollywood actors. Like Hollywood actors, they're so much worse than you can imagine. But they just it's all covered up.
Yeah, and I think I would even say like, all right, with sports and the college thing, I guess a part of the thing I was gonna say too is that you get drug tested. So like, obviously you could be like, oh well, you could take certain things, but like at the end of the day, just having more rules in place, I think, goes a long way. Obviously, like, I mean, it depends on the person. I mean,
Well, the music industry is also, it's different because the sports industry, they are protecting their assets. So they do a little bit more to make sure that they're not completely wasted, unlike the music industry. But I would guess, because the music industry it's almost completely curated now. There is no more Motley Crue. There is no more Led Zeppelin. There's no more Black Sabbath. There's no more Van Halen. There's no more Megadeth. There's no more Guns N' Roses. There's bands with those names, but they're 70 years old.
I was gonna say they keep coming back, but
that's not my point. That's not my point.
Yeah.
My point is these bands were once red-blooded, high-tea young men, and rock and roll does not have that anymore. There's no more red-blooded males that are out on the road going city to city, tearing up your town, brother. No, it's all these synthesized top 40. It's these rappers that they all have their private jets and their luxury buses, and nobody is discovered. Everybody is created. So it's not like you have these bands that grind over and over until, they make it big. It's just someone makes a YouTube video that's overproduced because the technology to make music and videos is widely available for anyone. And then it goes viral, or record companies will just grab someone and then they'll just use audio or auto-tune and Pro Tools, and 7 producers are going to write a song with the dumbest lyrics you've ever heard, and they'll use the algorithms that are completely astroturf to make something go viral. Then everyone knows this one song. Nobody, I got off my point because I've been so many different conversations have sidetracked me here, but
I think it's fascinating what you said, that no one is discovered. They're created now. Immediate.
No one is. No one is.
Yeah. It makes me think like the last person I could think of that was maybe discovered that comes to mind. This might sound really stupid, but like Justin Bieber, didn't he like make a song on YouTube or something? Like,
exactly.
Is there anyone else who did that?
Maybe didn't Drake do that? But Drake was also from that era.
Yeah, that's the same. Drake was already kind of, I think, found out or whatever. I don't know, but
I want to say it's from that era.
So I was bowling the other night, and someone's like, "I need more X's." I'm like, "Dude, you sound like a Drake song." He looked at me. I'm like, all he does is rap about. He's like, I miss my 14-year-old girlfriend. That's all his songs are.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never heard a Drake song, but I do know that Drake is. Just
you don't want to sound like a Drake song.
Just a whiny little bitch.
Yeah,
that is what I've heard about Drake. But that is a good joke. You got him.
Yeah, it was a very good joke.
But have you ever seen anyone wear a Drake shirt?
Not to show off their manliness, or
but so you have seen someone wear a Drake shirt?
Probably like in June or something.
You have? That's what I'm asking you.
I've been seeing a lot of the Purple Rain lately.
Okay, is that a Drake shirt?
I feel like the person I would wear that would wear a Drake shirt.
You seem to be struggling with this question. Did I short circuit you?
Yeah, I didn't expect to get that question.
NORAD from Star Trek? Have you seen someone wear a Drake shirt?
I'm sure I've seen a Drake shirt.
Okay,
I'm sure.
You're sure? Okay, how many do you think you've seen?
At least one.
At least one. How many Metallica shirts do you think you've seen?
I saw one today.
Oh, you saw one today?
Okay.
Well, did you see one yesterday?
I watched Beavis and Butthead, so technically.
Okay. All right, I guess.
You know what I saw? I saw Bob Odenkirk and Ben Stiller Ben Stiller was James Hetfield and Bob Odenkirk was Lars, and they were like promoting like Enter Sandman or something, but they're like making fun of him. It was like really funny.
That sounds actually pretty funny.
It was, I gotta show you. We gotta show the people the video. It's really funny.
Okay,
like
well,
they try to sing Enter Sandman or some stupid.
Okay, that's pretty good. Well, okay, how about how many Motorhead shirts do you think you've seen?
Not many.
Okay, what about Death?
I did see a King Diamond shirt like a few months ago.
Okay, how about
that was kind of cool. I actually see some girls wear Iron Maiden shirts from time to time. I don't know if they know that that's a band shirt, but I do see it. It exists.
Okay. Now I'm talking about in your lifetime. I'm not asking you like in the last 3 days.
Like this week?
Yeah, that's my question. Is like over your lifetime.
Well, if we go to an Iron Maiden show, you're going to see some Iron Maiden shirts.
Okay.
Or like if you go to Gigantour.
You suck at questions. I'm just like asking you.
No, I'm not good. I told you. I told you. I went to a family thing during Thanksgiving. They're like, "All right, DJ, you get 5 seconds. Like, what are 3 rivers?" I'm like, Those are not the 3 rivers. Like,
River Phoenix.
I cannot think
Clear Rivers from Final Destination. Does that count?
No, I can't think. I literally, you need to give me like 3 days.
Okay, well, I see metal shirts all the time. I don't think I've ever seen a Drake shirt.
That's weird.
Yeah, you dumbass.
Okay. I see where you're going there. Yeah,
DJ is not a member of Mensa for anyone listening. Gosh dang it.
Oh, yeah.
You're off my trivia team because we have time limit.
No, I'm terrible for trivia.
But
too much pressure.
I will first pick you for bashing head against big rocks team. You'll be my first pick.
Who am I beating up?
No, Dad. We're stealing the funzos back.
You know, I'm the type of guy that would give you directions, even though I don't know the way.
But anyway, the point is, I never see all these popular artists. Like, the number one song in the world was WAP, and it's just filth, vulgar, disgusting. It's just an awful song. And there is no fandom for any of this stuff.
No.
Like, have you ever met a real Rush fan? Like, not someone that likes Rush in their catalog of just bands they like, but like someone that loves Rush. Like, that's their favorite band.
Yeah, and like some people that like just love Neil Peart or loved him, you know.
Well, yeah. I mean that. I guess there are people that like Rush that like Neil Peart, but like the people that like Rush, they generally discovered Rush when they were like 11 or 12, and it was the first time they heard something that wasn't just like spoon fed to them by the radio or MTV. And it's like, oh my gosh. Like, oh my God, this is my jam. And they hold on to that. Like their grip on that is like kung fu, I tell you. And it really is like the people that love Rush, it's because it was the first time they heard something like that. Like this is their like the biggest thing since sliced bread. Where now when people listen to music, they don't know that there's stuff that they can find. Everything is given to them. Because music is now tailor-made for dummies to consume product and be excited for next product. And they don't know that there's other stuff out there. And it's because it's designed that way. The music industry is not for profit. That's the real secret. Like you may be like a guy in a band, like you may be working hard, you may be struggling, like, gosh, dang it, my band's really good. People come up to me all the time after shows and they say, like, you're so good, so talented, blah, blah. Well, how come these record companies won't give me a chance? They don't want to give you a chance. They want people that can keep the dummies in a lull. That's the point. They don't want talented music. Like they played that game, they had that headache. It was too inspiring. Now we're all about brutalism, even in music form. It's all like music is now like it's this weird hypnotism where it's all this 1 2 1 2 just easy synthesized beats that just make you bob your head and you don't realize it. You don't actually like it. It just has a psychological effect on you. And if you're dumb and you don't know that there's actual other music out there, because I know all these people and they're normies and they'll start to come up to me and say like, yeah, music's just kind of boring lately. And then I'll just give them stuff from my 80s pop collection. I'm like, wow, this is really good. It's like, yeah, this was very popular 40 years ago. And that's about it. Now name 3 rivers.
But no, kind of unfortunately, what you just described, I believe we're going to keep getting more of the same. And the reason I believe that is the other day I was listening to the radio and the
Spirit of the radio.
The show had the radio. What's that? They had a guy on who was talking about this new AI feature for Spotify. It's called the AI DJ. And this guy, I should have his name, but he claims to be, or he is, the voice of this AI. And the idea is that he said he had to teach the model about like his cadence and his intonation. And if there's like a new artist that comes out.
Jernigan guy? Okay, so I think this guy, Xavier X Jernigan?
That actually sounds right. I believe that's his name.
Go on then.
Well, essentially, this model is going to get so good that when new music comes out, a new record, whatever, he's not going to have to even re-record that stuff. That's like its own little thing that like blows my mind, like how an AI model can do that. But it's kind of interesting to hear him talk about how that there's enough data on the back end to do that. And so the model can generate itself. You know, it's really funny that there's all this new stuff coming out and new ways to explore new music, yet all the new music sucks and there's no good music. So what good does any of this do if you can't actually find like the good artists? Because technically these artists don't exist anymore. I mean, they're 70 years old, you know?
Yeah, there's just these legacy, like these dinosaur rock.
Like, I don't really think that, dude, I don't think this AI DJ stuff is good.
We're going to get to the point where AI is going to be able to synthesize pop music.
Well, and I think what you had said about us, like, is trying to get us to not think. Like, that was the whole point. Like, I just remember, like, you know, the Peace Sells music video, and it was like the dad comes in watching the son, like, he's like watching a music video or whatever, and he's like, why don't you turn on the news? And he's like, this is the news. Like, yes, power to the system. Like, yes, like,
power to the
fight
system,
back,
yes.
Rebel, you know?
Yeah.
But we don't see that now. Like, now it's like, no, obey.
Dude, okay.
You're offensive if you say anything.
Remember
like,
when we were kids and then people used to say things like, oh, you believe everything you see on TV? It's flipped now. Now it's like, oh, what, you don't believe it, but it was on TV. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. So I don't understand.
No, it's nuts. It's absolute lunacy.
Yeah, everybody is really stupid. But I think it's because a lot of creativity has been taken away from people. And nobody is thinking. Like, playing musical instruments, it does make you smarter. Like
100%.
Yeah, playing piano is shown to increase your intelligence. Which I'm from this conversation, I'm starting to think you've quit playing piano.
I've quit recording new stuff. What?
Name 3 pianos.
Name 3 piano players?
No, 3 pianos.
3 pianos?
Yeah.
Like a harpsichord, grand piano, rock piano.
Oh, okay.
I could do that in organ. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I did it.
Hey,
Look at me.
Well done.
Did I get a prize?
Yeah, I won't call you stupid at this juncture. But no one's inspired to pick up their own instruments.
Oh, this is too hard. I don't think we even get that far. Like, I don't think anyone gets that chance to like hear someone just shred on a guitar, let alone the idea of like having to play in time with people. Like, we were in a band together. It was just us two for a while. And it's like
a long time.
That we had to, there's an element of trust, and like we had to do our thing. Like, it was hard, and let alone having other members in the band, not only learning the songs, but having to play them in time and then be good enough at your instrument to play those songs. And then it's like, that song sucks. If we were better at our instruments, then this would be better. So it's like, I don't know if that process is even happening anymore.
And also the rock star glorification is gone. Like, a rock star is not just a person in a band. A rock star they're like a movie star, or they're someone, they're on magazine covers. They get girls. People want their autographs. People want to tell them, like, people will wait in line just to say, "You're cool, man." And that's been taken away. So there's no like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick up a guitar and I'm going to be a badass. I'm going to show the world that I can do that. That's been taken away from people. Rap is so hollow and so lifeless and so soulless. And I believe that you can have AIs synthesize rap easily, because all the drums are digital. All the music is digital. There's no creativity. There's no heart. There's no soul, despite what some of these dummies might think. And I guess I'll finish this point before I go to the next point. Their lyrics aren't about anything. They just rhyme words, and it's pure nonsense.
Big house, long hallways. I got 10 bathrooms. I could crap all day. That's a Lil Wayne song.
I believe that. Lil Wayne's really stupid. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the bangers.
Yeah, I believe that. Ironically, the only rappers that I genuinely respect are the Psychopathic Records rappers. I like the Juggalos, at least create their own culture. Like, they're their own subculture. And it's less about like people aren't just like, I like this music. They do like the music, but it's more, I like this community. These people, I relate to these people. I like these people. I like this world. So they have their own thing. You'll see people, it's not depending on what part of the tracks you're from, but you'll see like ICP shirts. You'll see Hatchet Man stuff. Like, I've seen that several times. Like, people like Insane Clown Posse. But the numbers show that Drake and Iggy Azalea and what's another, Cardi B, Doja Cat, those are the popular ones. The numbers show that, but the merchandise doesn't. Like, they don't have an actual fandom. Just dummies that don't know better like it.
Well, we want to hear something interesting, is that the first artist to get 100 million monthly listeners on Spotify was The Weeknd. He's the only one. And he doesn't even have the song with the most plays. The most plays is like Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift song.
Right, yeah, like it's people that plays. They listen to like one song, and they don't listen to the artist. They listen to one song because they're not like, wow, this music speaks to me. It's the flavor of the week. Not to be confused with the great song by American Hi-Fi, Flavor of the Week. But it's just, this is the new song. I'm going to listen to it. Okay, song listened to. Next song. They don't listen to these records.
Yeah, no, they don't. They don't listen to the whole record. And also, like with this weekend song, he had a song called "Creepin'" with Metro Boomin with 525 million plays. But like his highest song by himself was his Starboy song with 2.3 million plays. So I feel like the rappers have found a way to almost like work together to get more of either a community or more traction because like
And not
you
definitely
have it
not
would
the
be like
community. Maybe more, I would say
but it would be
more
like
traction.
it'd be like hey
That's a
it would
record.
be
That's a record label
yeah
decision.
yeah it would be like Megadeth and Iron Maiden like came together and made a song like I would
Now
listen to
that
that.
they tried to do that, that was a gimmick they tried a few times, like Lita Ford having like Ozzy and Lemmy on
That
that
was
one
awesome.
song. Yeah, but
Yeah, yeah.
it
If I
doesn't.
close my eyes forever, I think.
Yeah, like that happens here and there. Or I ain't no nice guy with Slash on it.
Hell, they did Hellraiser with
Well, that's just
I'm actually confused
two
on
different bands did the same song. I that's a weird one. Yeah,
is
there's a
Motorhead and
Motorhead.
Ozzy.
There's a Motorhead version and an Ozzy Osbourne version.
But then there's also a Lemmy and Ozzy singing on Taking Turns. Have you heard that version?
I guess there's three versions.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm real confused. And I know No More Tears came out, I think in 91, maybe 92.
Liberal Tears?
Oh, yeah. That might be my favorite Ozzy album. Like, I feel like Ozzy is like almost like the gold standard of metal when it comes to like production value. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
I think so. Yeah. I think
is that
I
is
think
that the
I think you're
one?
right. Probably.
Like I'm trying to think.
Consistently, yeah, I think so.
Consistent, yeah. Like that's like he could literally hire the best musicians in the world. It'd almost be like
because
I feel like
Ozzy was the first like commercial person for music because Ozzy was bigger than his music was. Like he peed on the Alamo,
yeah.
he bit the head off a bat, he did a line of ants.
But
like he's just like he has a big reputation. So he was marketed. He was picked. They called him the Prince of Darkness. He was the thing. So they chose him to be kind of the avatar for metal. And his music wasn't a reflection of his off stage behavior. So he was really accessible. Like he's got a lot of really good songs, but there are a lot of catchy songs. He doesn't have a lot of dark stuff. Like there's a few more somber things, like Mr. Crowley,
and he's kind of funny too.
Romance.
There's some, and like, but the one thing that's weird to me is like you had him being this crazy guy. Yeah, he was marketable, but then you get to like the 2000s, and they made him. They turned him into
a buffoon.
They made him look like a the fire's burning shit.
Yeah, they turned him into a total buffoon, and then he's just a total clod.
But when I got into metal, though, I thought Ozzy was a buffoon. So I was like, why would I listen to his music? Why would I listen to Black Sabbath if this is the guy making that stuff? I had no idea.
I think that was part of it.
And I think that screwed up a lot of people.
They took the mystique out of rock. Like this, Ozzy Osbourne was basically the poster child for heavy metal in the 80s. Like some smart asses out there that, don't have any nuance might say like there were bigger bands than Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, but was anyone more famous? Like I'm
trying
sure
to think.
I'm sure there were probably metal bands
maybe
in the 80s that sold more records than him, but Ozzy Osbourne was himself was so famous. Like he bit the head off a bat, he peed on the Alamo.
He was bigger than like a Freddie Mercury or someone like that because the solo stuff alone.
Well, not just that. No, it was all you're missing the point. It was all of his off-stage behavior. Like all of the records with Black Sabbath were monumentally successful. All of his records in the 80s were extremely successful, but it's his off-stage behavior, that mystique that he created was what made him so marketable. Same with Motley Crue.
Do you think social media back then, if they had it then, would it have changed anything? I think it would have made us like
think like we would have been sad or something. Like, whoa, like we only got to see like the cool, crazy stuff rather than like I don't know.
all the
Obviously,
scandals. No, social media changed everything, dude. Social media.
everything.
Okay, I was told this by someone in like 2009, 2010, and I didn't believe them at the time. And this was someone said, "Yeah, so I know Megadeth's manager. I don't remember his name." And he's like, "So this guy told me that record sales are nothing now. They don't mean anything. From now on, what they're looking at is how many digital music plays a band gets. That's what matters."
I believe that.
And then it became like a platinum record is now how many views you get on Spotify or how many listens you get on Spotify. And because this was back in 2009 or 2010, I was
okay.
I had no idea. Like I took no
what was
stock
to
in
come.
yeah. Oh yeah, I was like,
oh yeah.
You're not gonna replace CDs and records. Yeah. Oh
No,
boy,
now vinyl outsells CDs now.
Oh yeah, no one listens to CDs anymore.
No one listens to CDs. Yeah, it's all digital. That's all the metrics that work that they look at now.
Yeah, and people buy vinyl because it's kitschy and it's cool. That's it.
And that's more of like
it reminds them of a better
almost
time.
like a nostalgia thing.
Yeah. It reminds
sure.
them of a better time. Like, man, stuff was so much cooler.
And it's even the generation younger than us, even like the 20-year-olds now are like buying vinyls. I'm like, what? You know, you gotta buy a record player, right? Like, do you guys know that part?
I can't play this on my iPod.
I'm either a genius surrounded by morons or a moron surrounded by geniuses. I don't know where I am.
Middle of column A, middle of column B. Well, you told me before the show started you couldn't get your VCR's clock to work.
No, I still need help with that.
Well, you got to plug it in at midnight.
Could rewind it though.
You can't
Usually
rewind
got to pay
the
extra for that.
Got to return some videotape. Anyway, you cannot. That way, this we were talking about AI, and it's got completely sidetracked. But to go back to this point,
no, but
you can that. We're gonna finish this point before we get. Stay on topic. You can completely AI synthesize rap because the lyrics are not about anything. Drum beats are digital. All the music is synthesized. You cannot.
Well, all
AI,
you gotta do is commit a murder, and you got some lyrics.
Well, that's and and there's actually a law that you cannot use rap lyrics for murder trials. Did you know that? That cannot be admitted as evidence.
Yeah.
Like if there's a rapper that's like, I went to 7th Street, I knocked on his door, I shot him in the head, I put the gun on the floor, and then they can be in trial like, well, it was on 7th Street, the bullet entered the forehead, the firearm was found on the floor, there was some dust on the door from what appeared to have been a knock, and I guess we can't use these lyrics, so we're going to have to do anything else.
Do you think that's because Dee Snider went to Congress in the 90s?
I have
and fought the PMRC.
We'll do an episode on that. I have a take.
Okay.
On that. You write that
All
down.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll write that down.
Put that in your notepad. But
I got a big notepad.
No. That's for something else. But the point is, you cannot AI synthesize a metal song. You cannot AI synthesize death metal. You cannot AI synthesize thrash metal. You can't AI synthesize doom metal. There is an actual creative aspect to rock and roll. And I'll go one further. You cannot AI synthesize grunge or even alternative, which those are long dead genres. You know, I would be curious is because I know industrial is popular in its own right. How many industrial bands pop up? Because I know there was a club in LA. I can't remember what it was called, but it was an industrial / goth club, And I don't know if new bands, like new music was popping up for there, but I can't tell you the last time I heard an industrial band. I have no idea. Is it just MDFMK?
I don't know if I could tell you what an industrial band even is.
9 Inch Nails, KMFDM, nothing. Danzig 5, but also
like Smashing Pumpkins.
No, that's like alternative.
But again, that's alternative.
AI couldn't synthesize.
Couldn't do that
music. No, I know you hate.
No, that's
Billy
interesting.
Corgan, but
no, I don't.
You hate his singing.
Maybe like when I was ignorant years ago, but I actually came around. Yeah. I just don't like Radiohead. That's the only band that you like that I was like, I don't understand, man. But that's okay. Not everyone has to like the same stuff as me. I've grown in my musical taste.
See, here's the thing. I'm perfectly fine with that. That you don't have. Not everyone has to like the same thing. Of course, our art is subjective and all that. But there is music that is objectively bad. I was on vacation with some friends years ago, and there was a Rihanna song that was, I guess, was the hit at the time, and I was angry listening to this song. This wasn't nails on a chalkboard. This was like nails in my eardrum. It was the worst thing ever. Like, I felt like Carlos from Freddy's Dead. Like, this was the worst thing ever. And I was mad and letting the guy next to me in line know how much I hated it. And one thing that I really hate more than modern pop is pseudo-intellectualism. And I said, this is one of the worst songs ever written. And the guy who clearly liked the song, and he was trying to be smart, and he said, well, no music is good.
What?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you for that. And I'm not being sarcastic. Genuinely, thank you for that input, because that was kind of my reaction. And he was trying to be smart instead of just saying, well, not everyone likes the same thing. You don't like this. Other people do. That's fine. And then at that point, I would have just been like,
no music ever has been good.
Yeah. And then he said, name one band that's good. I said, Iron Maiden. He said, Iron Maiden's not good. And I said, Iron Maiden is as close as you will ever get to a best band of all time.
We're up there.
Now, there are bands that have sold more records than Iron Maiden. There's a lot of bands that have sold more records than Iron Maiden. But in terms of musicianship, song creativity, songwriting, song arrangement, sure, live performance, lyrics, singing, you're not going to get an all-around better performance than Iron Maiden. And to say Iron Maiden's
talent
not
and
good.
create. No.
What? Talent and treat? What are you saying?
No, they have like the highest talent level,
Oh yeah. Well, that's musicianship. Yeah. And
I mean, you don't even have to like it, and you could listen to them and be like, all right, I believe those people are pretty darn good at
their like
I don't have to like it, but like you could recognize talent.
I don't like it.
I'm not just some guy.
But they're good at what they do.
Right.
It's
I respect musicians now. Like, if you get up on stage, you can stink, but good for you. You don't like it?
No, I don't respect. Like, if someone sucks, then I don't respect them.
You're the first one to boo them? Are you booing people?
Yes. Don't you remember that famous picture of me with the middle finger up?
I don't recall the past.
It was me and Baby.
Yeah.
There's that famous picture at that venue.
You and the baby.
Yeah.
Not a real baby, folks.
No, he's just the size of one.
Yeah.
Possibly an intellectual baby. But this guy,
that's one of those pseudo intellectuals.
Yes. But this guy he was trying to have this stupid argument. And I'm not like some petty autistic weirdo where I'm going to argue my point whether or not that I'm wrong just because I'm ingratiated in my ways. Like, I was trying to be as objective as possible with this particular argument because I was so dead set on this song being bad. And an argument is when you try to present your side to get someone to see your point of view, not when you talk so much that someone gives up and walks away. And that's how certainly this guy treated it. And the song, I remember the song, it was, "You make me feel like I'm the only girl in the world." It was the most amelodic, anemic, soulless song I had ever heard. And it really was a taste of things to come. And it was so bad. And this guy was defending it because this was a guy that liked dubstep. He liked modern poppy country. Like when country took its really ugly turn in the late like 2000s and early 2010s, like when country got that reputation for being really bad. And this guy just liked bad music. And he was unwilling to let his bad music be insulted. Because people have been trained into thinking like, oh, this product, it's more important than your life. They really have. And instead of just saying like, "Oh, I like it," you don't have to. He tried to get intellectual and philosophical with.
Well, he tried to tell you that.
Well, this is the hill that this guy wanted to die on.
Yeah. Oh, and that hill was, hey, sure, Rihanna sucks, but whatever music you listen to sucks just as bad. So he's saying Iron Maiden is just as bad as Rihanna, is what he was trying to say, defend. And that's crap. I'm proud of you for actually sticking up for that and being in that. At first, I'm like, why are you arguing with random people in line about a Rihanna song? But you know what? Like, that guy's a jerk. And
well, that guy's an idiot.
Like,
it's a stupid person.
An idiot. You're stupid. You're stupid, and you're mean. That's like the worst.
All he needed to say was, it wasn't written for you, and you don't have to like it. And then I would have said like, all right, fair enough. If you like it, you like it. But if you're gonna be stupid about it and try and frame it like you're a smart person,
yeah, it was the wrong time to open up a musical debate.
Yeah, and I don't go. I try to avoid arguments with strangers, just because I assume.
Well, those are the best type. You never have to see them again.
Sure.
I actually encourage arguments with strangers. I'd love it. Like, why are you arguing with the guy? I'm like, I'd never have to see him again. Like, oh, what? He lives here. Like, shoot. Well, all right. Well,
that's okay. That's DJ's advice on.
Yeah, that's my advice.
Now, here's my counter to his position.
Okay, let's hear.
I say it's not worth arguing with strangers because more than likely they're not going to be very smart, because we live under a system that has trained people to be very unintelligent. It's trained people to not think for themselves. It's trained for people to be as uncreative as possible. So you're going to end up being like that guy from Idiocracy during that trial when the narrator's like, he pleaded for his case as passionately and intellectually as he could, but he was overcome by guffaws and dumb laughter and pointing and booing and hissing. It's got to be like that. I mean, I butchered that quote, but I just remembered that. Like, where you're going to be a guy and you're going to be like, here's my intelligent point and my nuance and my creative philosophical take on this, and then the person is going to be like, but why male model? Like that. So that's what you're going to get. You're going to be arguing with someone who has like literally been brainwashed.
But Gatorade's got electrolytes. No, the plants need water.
Rondo. It's got electrolytes. It's what plants crave.
That's our first sponsor.
Yes, thank you. Rondo. Shout out to Rondo.
Is it Rondo?
Rondo. Rondo. What plants crave. Yeah, but that's what most debates with strangers are going to be like. Sure, you'll never have to see them again, but what's your time worth? Because you're not going to win most battles, whether it's art or especially politics or religion, whatever it is. If it's with a stranger, one, they don't trust you, and two, generally, just assume that their father figure is the media, and the media has more credibility than you, especially as a stranger. So whatever you say, like if you're like Drake sucks, well, like, oh yeah, well, how come Drake sold this many records? I got into an argument years ago. I used to get into a lot of arguments. I've learned my lesson. You know, I was young.
Yeah, you talk a lot about avoiding arguments, but it sure sounds like you've been seeking them out. You've been taking in my advice, even though I didn't know it.
What? No, you gave me that advice 14 years ago, and now I realize why I never listened to you. And I used to argue with not strangers, but acquaintances. Like obviously, like we would get into, like you and I would get into dumb arguments, but they would never. There was never any like hostility or any malice. But
right,
we would get into heated arguments with random people. But this one guy, he was arguing with me that Metallica is better than Megadeth. This is the age old argument. I like this is really like how you tell like a metalhead from a guy who thinks he's a metalhead. The metalhead picks Megadeth every time. The dumb picks Metallica. Like you literally pick Metallica if you bought the Black Album when you were 10, and that's it. Like it has this effect on you. Like it's like the Rush fans, like these people like Metallica, and it's always like the worst records. But this guy, he started off by saying nothing Megadeth has ever done is better than anything Metallica's ever done. And I couldn't have been more sardonic.
You could have just lost it. Yeah.
Like I couldn't have been more sardonic.
That makes my blood boil now. Just listen.
I said to this guy, like, I've never been so sarcastic and flippant with anything. And I said, you're going to sit there and tell me that nothing Metallica or everything Metallica has done, everything is better than Rust in Peace. And he said, well, that one's better than Load and Reload. I'm like, oh, okay, that one's, but not better than Saint Anger? Get out of here, dude. That's a level of just, what's the word for, when people are disconnected from reality? There's a word for it.
Besides mentally ill?
Delusional. Yeah. Like that's a level of delusion where it's not worth engaging with someone honestly, because anyone, like, I understand, like, if you like Metallica more than Megadeth, they're like, oh, Master of Puppets and Justice for All, bro. It's like, okay, like 90%.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Fortune, the fame, mirror, but the memory remains. Dude, that band sucks. We'll do an episode on them. Yeah, Metallica sucks. But
it's almost like in that movie Airheads. It's like, who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God? I'm like, Lemmy? Wrong, because Lemmy is God. It's a trick question.
Yeah.
That's the question. That's the metalhead question. Megadeth or Metallica? Like, you could like Metallica, but you just can't say what that guy said.
We went to so many shows. Check out. Like we went to so many shows, and then like we would talk to random people there. Like just when Metallica Megadeth would come up, everybody would pick Megadeth. Like it's just crazy to me that there's people out there like, no, Metallica's better. It's like, all right, you're not a metal guy. No, I love metal. I love metal like and it's always like the System of a Down. Core.
They'd always like it for like the solos. They're like, oh yeah, but Kirk Hammett. It's like
no one liked it. No one liked it for the solos. They liked it because they heard 3 Megadeth songs from like Euthanasia and on, and then they heard Enter Sandman on MTV like 100 billion times.
Well, another thing with Enter Sandman,
it's referenced in the Josie and the Pussycats movie.
Is it? Oh, I didn't know that. But
yeah. Fun fact here. a boy band in the beginning goes missing and they're presumed dead, and they show up all beaten, except for one guy who looks okay, and they're like, "Oh, did you guys die?" Like, no, we landed in the parking lot of a Metallica concert. Why do you look okay? Well, luckily, I knew the words to Enter Sandman.
Well, also with that song too, the one of the most famous, like not the most famous, but he's like if you know baseball, he's a relief pitcher, he's a closer, so he comes out at the end of the game, and his walkout song was Enter Sandman. This is Trevor Hoffman. So I was trying to think, like, all right, he played for the San Diego Padres. He pitched, I don't know, like 600 or 700 times, or so like how many times was that song just played with him in front of 40,000 fans? Like how many people were exposed to that song?
What was his era?
From like 95 to like 2015, like okay. that around that type of span.
Okay, so not like a new resurgence, like when that song was still
no resurgence,
popular.
Right?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure that Enter Sandman, I think it's the second most played video in MTV history. I think that's right. I could be making that up, but I thought that was the case. But yeah, that song's not that good. It's okay. It's not. I used to hate that song. Now I'm just like, whatever. There's worse songs.
Whatever.
Especially
but like I said, like Crazy Train had 550 million plays. Enter Sandman has 1 million. So at least in some level, he left.
No, Metallica sucks. Like whenever I hear people say like, "Oh, you like Megadeth?" It's like, shut up, dude. Metallica. I honestly, I don't think they have a single good record. Like their best records have such glaring flaws. I'm not a bass guy, and a lot of people do this. Like they'll bring, but Cliff Burton. Bass does not make a band, especially a metal band.
It wouldn't do enough. It shouldn't do enough for it.
Like Les Claypool is a very impressive bass player, but Primus is the whole package.
Unless you're like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I think that's the only band. That's the only band, maybe.
And that's part
of. They're not metal, but
it's funk. Yeah, like funk is heavy on bass. Yeah, sure. Yeah, and then Anthony Kiedis is having sex with Cher when he's 12 years old.
Oh, I had to see them at a show, the 2006. Was it K-Rock Weenie Roast? There was so many terrible bands, awful bands.
It had Red Hot Chili.
Like Panic at the Disco, Fall Out Boy.
Red Hot Chili
Mother was there.
You know that the singer, what's his name? David Geffen. You know about David Geffen?
Oh yeah.
Cher and Anthony Kiedis.
Well, like
do some homework
stuff, or
everybody do some homework on Cher, Anthony Kiedis, and David Geffen. That's
homework.
That's homework. I'm giving you homework. But yeah, I don't care about bass. Doesn't make a band. Like Cliff Burton, accomplished bass player. Even Robert Trujillo, accomplished bass player. It doesn't make the band.
Yeah, but do you think?
And Jason Newsted is an awesome bass player, and they turned him off of And Justice for All, and it sounds so good with the bass on it. It's crazy that they just turned it down. So that
really,
album,
I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's so obvious. You don't know that because you don't want to listen to that record because it's not that good.
No, I don't.
There's some okay songs on it, but that record is not that good.
No, like when I first got into metal, like I had made that jump from like it's so embarrassing. It's like Linkin Park, The Offspring, then I got into AC/DC, and then the next band literally was Metallica. And I'm like, holy moly!
That's butt rock.
My life,
dude.
like
Nothing
this is awesome. And then the next band was Megadeth, and then Metallica phases all over.
And then you're like, why?
Like, then Lars, then the drumming started sounding really awful. I'm like, Lars is an awful drummer. Like, how can so many people be so awful at their instruments, yet they're like the band? Like, why did that happen? How did that happen? Why are we accepting this?
Of all the arguments that I've gotten into, the craziest one that I have gotten into was with a guy that believed that Lars Ulrich was a great drummer. His words. I was just like,
well, he got awards and stuff. So I mean, people would. I mean, it's not crazy. I mean, obviously you listen to him, but
he said, "How can you say Lars Ulrich is not a great drummer?" I said,
he was in. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, how can you think he is? Every Metallica drum beat is. It's like Ringo Starr is the only drummer worse than Lars Ulrich.
He's in. I just saw this again recently. Get Him to the Greek.
Yes,
there's a scene with Lars Ulrich.
Yes, he plays Rose Byrne's boyfriend. Yes, that's a funny scene.
That's a really funny scene.
And it's funny because they're mocking Lars Ulrich.
No, they are.
Yes,
that's actually a crazy movie to see.
That's the only scene in that movie that I really like. I do like when Puff Daddy is chasing the car. That was pretty funny.
His daddy's favorite show. His daddy's favorite show.
I do like the idea of a concept album about African children. That's really
African
funny.
That was African Child.
But anyway, yeah, that was the craziest thing. Yeah, the drumming, it's really stand out, and all the Metallica songs, like they're cool. Like Master of Puppets, that album, like they're cool until they become really boring and overindulgent, and they stop being cool, and then they just go back to being overindulgent. Like their songs are way too long, and they stretch them out in an uninteresting way. Let's end every show like this. What was the last album you listened to, front to back?
I've been listening to, actually, the two bands I've been listening to a lot lately are Sodom and Motorhead. So the Motorhead album I've been listening to is Aftershock.
That's the recent one, right?
Yeah, and it's actually really cool. Pretty heavy. Like, I feel like people that like black metal would even like it. It's like kind of thrashy. And then I also really like I've been listening to Sodom, Code Red. That album's really. You introduced me to Sodom years back and gave me Tapping the Vein. So if you haven't listened, Tapping the Vein's awesome. So I think if anyone hasn't listened to Tapping the Vein by Sodom, that's a classic. But I kind of think Bullet in the Head and Nocturne. That's a great thrash song in German. That's pretty cool.
Who'd have thought?
What about you? What have you been listening to? And No More Tears. I listened to No More Tears also.
Again, like, you suck at questions. I just said,
I'm not good.
What was the last album you listened to?
I didn't even hear the question.
No, I know you don't listen. It just makes for better content. What was the last album you listened to, front to back? What was the last one? Not what have you been listening to?
Well, that's the thing. It's the thing when you do it on Spotify. But lately, actually will be No More Tears. I went front to back.
Okay, No More Tears. Okay, so the last album
Ozzy
I listened to front to back, it was Dystopia by Megadeth.
Is that the newest one?
I don't know if it's the newest one. It's from 2016.
Okay, then no. They just came out with one. So how was that? I'm sure it's heavy.
Yeah, I didn't know if the recent one was out yet or not. I just heard one song they released. I got pretty upset when they kicked David Ellefson out of the band for
Damn, it's too bad.
I was like, are you kidding me, Dave? Like, after all this, give me a break, dude. But anyway, yeah, just listening to this album.
He should have been on that album, though. Ellison should have been on if it was 2016, because he just got kicked out like
I'm pretty sure
a year or two ago.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's on that record. But it's probably their fifth best album. It's definitely
How do you feel about the vocals, though? Because lately, like, everything shreds, and you're like, wow, that's actually amazing that they sound like that. It's heavy, it's brutal, but the vocals, like I don't know, how is it?
I was gonna say the vocals sound good, but it's very clear there are effects. There's like a bunch of effects used to make. But that was one thing because I know a lot of people.
I think it was before he got cancer.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, but a lot of people.
What were you saying?
A lot of people have commented on his vocals lately, and I think there are a lot of effects. Same with Ozzy. Ozzy had a record out somewhat recently.
Patient 9.
Yeah,
Patient number 9.
And I know there's a bunch of effects that they use.
Well, to make him what's crazy is they had him play out at the SoFi stadiums where the Rams play. They put I don't know how many billions into this place, but they had Ozzy Osbourne play the home opener, like almost like a Super Bowl type spot. So it's just interesting. And then right after, it's like, oh yeah, Ozzy Osbourne's he's quitting touring, and then all of a sudden we see like, oh yeah, Sharon Osbourne is confirming that Ozzy's gonna do some show with like Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and probably some other bands that have been extinct. Like, what is
AC/DC?
Yeah.
All right, let's end on this note because this is one thing to talk about. So, to me, the most interesting aspect of this specific thing is I was thinking about the Monsters of Rock. Now, the Monsters of Rock, I don't think they do that anymore, but this was something like late 80s, very early 90s, and you would get these bands that were like, they were at their peak, top of their game. Like Testament would be there, Wasp, Megadeth, Guns N' Roses, like big bands that were in their prime, and now you get these festivals of like these things like Metallica, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, or like Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Poison. Like you get all these legacy acts, and they're these big festivals, but they're all old people. They're all dinosaurs. Like where is our Monsters of Rock with the young bands? Because the bands are out there. Dude, there's a million kick-ass thrash, death, black metal bands out there. I don't know how many glam bands there are or how many just regular, like, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden sounding metal bands there are, but as far as thrash, death, and black metal, they're all out there, and they're all kicking ass, and they're all doing well. Like, if you, and I'm not saying this like, this is what you should do, record industry, if you were smart and wanted to make money, because I know that's not how it works, and that's not what they want to do. But this is all something you guys should be thinking about. They don't do this for a reason. So you're going to have Ozzy Osbourne headlining. Ozzy Osbourne is probably near 80 years old. And he's headlining this music festival with Guns N' Roses and AC/DC. And they're all dinosaurs. Where is the youth energy? And I worked with this guy in high school, and he was talking about how he went to an Eagles concert. And he said everyone there just sat in their chairs and clapped after every song. Like, that's where these bands are approaching. Like, all these bands, Metallica, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Ozzy, it's all going to be a bunch of old people. Because the tickets are going to be like $500. They're all going to be super expensive. It's going to be in an arena. Like, young people are not going to afford to be able to go there. There's not going to be a pit. It's just going to be a bunch of boomers talking about back in my day. Yeah, I saw AC/DC on the Who Made Who tour. I saw Metallica on the Master of Puppets tour.
Well, I saw AC/DC in 2012 or 2011. I'm like, wow, this is like so cool. I got to see them. There's no way that they could, they were already talking about
years later.
Brian Johnson. It's like, oh, there's no way he's gonna even be available for this tour. He was like talking about how he had to get his voice in shape, and that was 11 years ago.
Yeah, I know Axl Rose replaced him at some point. I actually think he did a pretty good job.
Oh, I do remember that. That's actually really strange. Yeah, I had heard that.
Yeah,
I don't know what year that was though. No idea.
I want to say it was like 2017 or 2018. around that era. But he actually he sounded pretty good, surprisingly. But yeah, it
That
looks
is
like
surprising.
Brian Johnson is, yeah. 'Cause I do hate Axl Rose. I hate Guns N' Roses. But I it was a decent fit. But it looks like Brian Johnson's back in the band. But these
That's
guys
cool.
are like, isn't it crazy that like Metallica and Guns N' Roses are the young people in this?
It just seems like there's a need. So if you're a band out there, like we need you. There's a spot for you, like waiting for you. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
how much longer can like
they can't. The
it
answer is
can't.
they can't. No, they can't. But there is no desire for the record companies to put hard rock out. They're milking the legacy acts because there's still a lot of money in it. And you know what? Back to the AI thing. I bet it's just about getting people used to this crappy, cheap music. Because at the end of the day, people got weaned off of good music. Because we can talk about how ridiculous the '90s kind of that era of music was, but like in the '90s we had grunge. Like I do hate Nirvana, but Pearl Jam had a good record. I think everything Alice in Chains put out was good. Soundgarden mostly good. Temple of the Dog good. This was a pretty good genre. Nirvana, I think, is one of the worst. We'll do an episode on Nirvana, but there was other good stuff in the '90s. Third Eye Blind, Blues Traveler,
Yeah.
Sister Hazel. Like there were very unique acts, and in addition to the cheesy pop, like Real McCoy, Hadaway, Ace of Base, Amber. The
You love
Immortals.
that Ace of Base.
I love
You
Ace
won't let
of Base.
that. You won't let that one go.
No,
I love that.
Dude, Life is a Flower. Dude, I love Ace of Base. Unironically. But also in the '90s, like gosh dang it, what was that Michael Jackson album? It had Black or White and Jam on it. Like there was that. Depeche Mode had Ultra and Songs of Faith and Devotion.
What about your Hootie and the Blowfish? Were they that time period too?
Hootie and the Blowfish, 1994. That was not only their biggest year, but it was their only year. So, but again, yeah, like that college frat boy rock.
It was terrible.
No, it was awesome. It was all that stuff, just all of that stuff existing at the same time, and like we had these terrible Metallica records, Load and Reload, but at the same time we had Low and Demonic from Testament. Like there was Far Beyond Driven came out, Cowboys from Hell, Vulgar Display of Power. There was so much good stuff in the '90s, and these aren't just like releases from nobody hipster bands that only we've heard of, and we're just trying to show off our cred. De Mysterious Dumb Satanis, In the Night Side Eclipse, Transylvanian Hunger. Yeah. There were really big records in the '90s, and now, dude, there's nothing. There's nothing, and people have been weaned off of all this good hard rock. And I think the logical conclusion is they're just going to AI music. And what they're going to do is they're going to put a screen out, and then they're going to do like what the Gorillas do, and they're just going to have some generated thing, and they're going to charge people like $800 a ticket to see AI music.
Yeah, because the holographics didn't do all so well. I thought I saw a post about.
I don't mean that. You're talking about the Tupac thing. I'm talking about like there's going to be some fake thing that's going to resemble a body on stage.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that I was talking to some of my black metal friends, and they had never heard of Emperor, and I'm like, isn't Emperor the best? I'm like, is that the best? Aren't they still the best like black metal band? Like the biggest one, right? Like, am I wrong here? Have I been out of the music industry too long? Like, what's going on? Like, do you guys not even listen to like the top music in your genre? Like, I was
like
sincerely
never
confused.
hearing about Emperor. It's like it's literally the equivalent of like listening to thrash and never hearing of Megadeth.
Yeah,
it's the exact same
like,
thing. Like Mayhem and Emperor are basically Metallica and Megadeth. And I understand there are people that listen to thrash that probably don't like Metallica and probably don't like Megadeth. Like they're just like that level of purists. But yeah, of course, a lot of black metal people, they don't listen to like the mainstream. They got to be, super cult and all that, KVLT, and they only listen to bands no one's ever heard of. But they've at least heard of Emperor. That's crazy.
Right?
Never heard.
No,
of
that was crazy to me. I was like, whoa, I've been gone a long time. I guess I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that is weird. Unless they're gaslighting you, which would be pretty funny.
Could have been.
Oh, I've never.
I could see that.
What are you talking about? Like what? Like that David Spade movie?
Yeah. No, that's the New Groove.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, yeah, I like that one. That's a good one. I like the part when the shoulder angel. He's like, here, look at this, and he starts doing. Starts doing shoulder push-ups. He's like, you're not making sense. He goes, no, you got to.
No. He's got a point there. That's Putty from Seinfeld.
I know. I'm aware. And John Goodman's the other one, and David Spade. Yeah.
God, he has some of the best quotes in that movie. I'm trying to think of them.
Poison for Cusco. It's Scorpion. Oh, that movie's really funny.
It's a good movie.
That's like the only funny thing David Spade, or the only funny movie David Spade ever did without Chris Farley.
You didn't like the Dickie Roberts?
Nobody liked the Dickie Roberts. Nobody liked anything David Spade did without Chris Farley. Even though David Spade's actually a pretty funny comedian. But every movie he was in without Chris Farley is terrible, except for The Emperor's New Groove, which is, we'll only bring it up because it has groove in the name, so it's tangentially related to music.
Yes.
But on that note, we will see you next time. I think we'll generally go for a 2-hour format, but first episode we're gonna wean you in.
Yeah, an easy reel them in. Easy peasy.
All right.
Well, thank you. And stay safe out there.